Powered by Broadnetconcepts.
As I will invite to the stage, coming to the stage with over 16 years experience in cinema operations management, film production, and distribution. He's worked in the United Kingdom and in Nigeria, co-founder of West Africa's largest cinema chain, Film House, passionate about talking Nigerian films, or about taking Nigerian films to the world, and he's unfortunately a Manchester United fan. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Moses BABATOPE, please applaud him as he comes. Thank you very much. With this kind of beautiful CV, now use Man U to spoil it. All right. So, sir, tell us about filmmaking. What is filmmaking?
Okay, quick disclaimer. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm a film executive or cinema executive. So, therefore, in the business of film. So, I think I would do a disservice, to that definition from a technical standpoint. From a film business standpoint, for me, I think is the ability to capture emotions, like Mr. Lanre has said, being able to tell a story, capturing it all together, packaging it all together for people to acknowledge that's being passed, and the quality of speakers that are here. And I have to commend the organizers of this event, for putting something like this together. So thank you, and I think everybody deserves a round of applause for being here.
Thank you very much. I remember the first time I met my father-in-law, and he asked me, what do you do? I scattered in my head with grammar. I said, I'm into multinational intellectual speaking, at social gatherings that have to do with a little impetus of transnational, paramedic. Okay, but that's fine. Okay, what's the future of the film industry?
Wow, that's a very, very big question with, very positive answers, I have to say. And it's great to see that in the room we're talking about, things that can enhance filmmaking. Look, to put it simply, the future of filmmaking in Nigeria is really, really blessed. We're at a time where, more than ever before, the international community are looking at Nigeria in specifically, for our stories, for our culture, for our tradition. They're looking at us for our film business, as small as it is in the scheme of things, in terms of the legitimate revenues that are generated from here. We're being looked at with keen interest. So platforms like Netflix, platforms like Amazon, platforms like HBO Max, platforms like Disney, all of these guys are looking very, very keenly. In the next few months, you'll be hearing a number of announcements. I'm sure you've heard some of the things that have gone on with Ebony Life, if you're following. I guess another thing to say, for photographers and videographers here, another great thing, like the speakers have spoken about, is to keep yourself informed of what's going on, because you'll be able to position yourself. And I hope I'm not jumping the questions, but positioning yourselves, for example, film shoots, poster shoots are things that photographers can get as an opportunity in this future that is coming for filmmaking in Nigeria. So a lot of international interest, a lot of international investments, because it's now very clear. Before, we've always said everybody consumes Nollywood film, but where was the data? Where were the cinemas? Where were the number of ticket sales? How much value is our film business? Now you have cinemas, now you have VOD platforms with a lot of data showing people watching in Nigeria, but people watching also outside of Nigeria, and people watching in diaspora. So the future is really, really bright, and in order for you to be part of that bright future, you need to position yourself.
Okay, positioning myself for the bright future as a videographer, and I want to go into filmmaking. Is it, what do I need? Skill or education, formal education, or exposure?
I think you need a combination of everything. A combination of, you know, a degree of, you know, know-how. And we talked about learning and relearning. A degree of networking, you know, a degree of being ready to, you know, go through apprenticeship programs and training programs. A degree of sometimes trying to be part of a production for free to get the experience, you know, and know what exactly is going on. Those are the ways I would recommend, you know, to be part of, you know, to be part of this movement that is going to be, and you can mark my words, that's going to be really, really phenomenal when it starts happening.
Okay, good one. Before we go into questions, I don't watch TV, but my kids do, and we've had this house help who came in and has won them over watching Z World. Yeah. And I have noticed that the level of progressive development in Bollywood is like magic. It's like every day the quality of their movies get better. It's like every day, even Korean movies. What's wrong with Nollywood?
Good question. Of course, not every industry has their challenges. So I'm not going to, I don't want to answer the questions from a negative standpoint. I think what Nollywood has been able to achieve, everything considered, is phenomenal. It's an industry that is barely less than 30 years. You know, if you compare to Bollywood, we were watching Bollywoods in the 80s and in the 90s, and we're already established. All right? It's an industry that's barely well-financed. It's an industry that barely has any kind of government support. Yet, today we have a viable cinema industry, albeit small but growing. Today, the major international platforms are looking into us. So in a way, we've leapfrogged a number of, you know, industries. So my answer to you is that there's nothing, we have challenges. I don't think that there's anything wrong with Nollywood per se. But we have challenges. We also have piracy challenges, as you know. We have intellectual property law challenges, you know. And I think that the more we have access to these international platforms, the more our films. So, for example, I'm proud of a Nigerian film, Omogeto, you know, that we released in cinemas in December. One film takes, at the last count, 540 million in cinemas, one film. Or in a pandemic, right, with reduced capacity. That tells me there's nothing wrong with Nollywood or with filmmaking if you get it right in Nigeria. It tells me that there are people willing to watch and people willing to pay a premium locally. It's not even internationally. You know, so of course we have our challenges and we'll continue. And I'm sure everybody here in their craft, those that have spoken on videography and photography, you know, we have various challenges that unfortunately maybe our government is not paying as much attention, but look at us here. We've organized a knowledge, you know, based event, a value-adding event as private individuals. That's essentially what Nollywood is, or filmmaking in Nigeria is, where all of us are coming together, all of us are finding ways together to make sense of it without any kind of support. So to be compared to all those other, you know, all those other established industries might be a little unfair. In terms of, you know, if you use the same wavelength. For what we've accomplished, where we are and where we are going, I think we're doing well. We can obviously always get better, and that's what companies are like ours, and I imagine budding entrepreneurs here, that I think that's what our goal is, to make it better.
Thank you very much. I think it deserves a loud round of applause. Okay, we'll take 2 questions, or 3. 3, filmmaking. Yes, please.
How do you open that door for us if you know about it? How to get our movie
All right, thank you. I was telling Mr. Larry Shaw that you see that's so. I would like to disabuse the myth. It's not a cartel. Perhaps we need to do a better job of communicating that, my brother, your content is what speaks. Everybody has said it here. If I see a very strong trailer, I'm looking for you. You're not looking for me. If I see a strong teaser, a strong poster, my job is to make you money. I make money when you make money as a distributor. So I am looking for you. And you just ask, there are a number of things that make a film stand out. We're all technical here. The way the picture looks, the performances, production design, they call set design, the music, that is used, the way the film flows. We all know what great content looks like, and sometimes it doesn't have to be exceptional. Sometimes it's a strong story. Sometimes it's a memorable performance that people can talk about. Sometimes it's a popular theme that people want to know. In the case of Omogeto, we clearly saw there was an authenticity to what was being shown. There was no adding flavors. Anybody has seen Omogeto here? Omogeto, the recent, please, I'll recommend it for everybody in filmmaking. If you're also a photographer, if you're a videographer, it's important to see. For me, it's a model of how we can tell our stories without being apologetic. How we can also bridge the divide in social classes. You asked about the technical components. Look, I'm not technical. If you reach out to us via email, we're willing to always send you the requirements, right? But there are people, look, at their films. Anybody seen a film called Elevator Baby? If you look at it, Elevator Baby was not used. There was no. I'm sure it was a black magic they used. I'm almost certain that it was not a red or Ari. But what stood out at the end of the day? Two powerful performances, award-winning performances of a simple story. So, going back to how I answered you first, if your content stands out, you'll be looked out for. Your content will find a way to the platform. And I'm not trying to be political about it. The access is there. Film One has a website, www.film1ng.com. If you want to take emails in terms of how to access us, info@film1ng.com. And all you just need to tell us is you have a film, give us a short synopsis. Ideally, send us a trailer. We don't need to see the film. Send us a trailer, send us a teaser, send us a poster. We'll quickly evaluate it and tell you, what, we think this can work. The kind of things that work in cinema are the kind of things that everybody wants to see. Nobody wants to see boring stuff. Nobody wants to see gory stuff. People just want to have fun and be relaxed in cinema. On VOD, however, people have a wider palette of what they want to see. They're in the comfort of their homes. The perception of value is different, right? You pay a monthly fee for a lot of films, so you are a bit more experimental about what you want to see. When you go to the cinema, you're paying a premium to see a film in 2-3 hours. You want to be really entertained. You don't want to think too much. So that would be the difference, in getting platforms. And please, let me disabuse. There's no cabal. Yes, it seems like the same set of people are accessing. Let me just tell you, the same set of people are doing it right. The same set of people, we talked about knowledge here. The same set of people are paying and working hard to access knowledge that is not publicly available. You have to invest in yourself to get that kind of knowledge. That's why it feels like those people are constantly getting it right. I can almost say there is some sort of formula, because if you follow film business properly, particularly cinema in Nigeria, there are things that work. Comedies work. Some faces work in the right film, not if you put them in any film. If you market your film innovatively and it stands out, it works. If you market ahead of time for good content, it works. Sometimes you might have average technical content, right? But very strong story or very strong performances, and it works. It's not the norm, it's an exception. So those are the things that you need to just be mindful of in terms of what works, how to access, and I want to say to anyone here that makes a film, your film is eligible, for submission until the buyer or the distributor says, they don't think it will work. So there is no there is no, oh, you have to know this person, I need to know. Your film is eligible until the buyer says, sorry, we don't think this will work. I hope that handles it.
Thank you very much. I know that content is a very important and also challenging. I used to do music, and so the marketer tells you what people want to listen to.
Absolutely.
What will sell. Is it the same with movies?
Absolutely.
Okay, so my thinking no matter.
No, it's what the audience wants. You have to keep finding out what the audience wants. Look, before King of Boys came out, anybody seen King of Boys? Before King of Boys came out, we were not sure dark trailers worked in the cinema. But King of Boys was the kind of film that showed us that, you know what, our audiences are developing, but they put in a lot of work. I'm sure people are anticipating the second one because of the work that has been put in to develop a new genre, right? So I'm not saying that you cannot develop new taste and new habits, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. Just to give you kind of 2 or 3 key points, something as little as the title of a film is very important to its sellability. Something as important as the duration of a film is also important. If you have a film of 90 or 100 minutes compared to a film of 150, 160 minutes, particularly if the film is struggling, that film of 90, 100 minutes has more of a chance to make money because you can get more slots in the cinema. Those are the things that the marketers or the distributors know, and that's why they are specialized in it. And they want you filmmakers to be specialized in what you do, and advise you. I was just talking to, again, Mr. Esho, and great work, great cinematography. I've just encouraged him that he needs to step into the filmmaking space. It's all about, knowing exactly what the audience wants. And you don't know it only by attending events like this. You know it by also going to watch those films. You know it by also going to find out what people are responding to as they watch the films. That's how you learn what works and what makes money.
Powered by BROADNetconcepts.